Next, we go to Rusty, who asks, would living in a Christ-centered monarchy form of government be preferable to the system we've had the last 100 years?
Now, this is the kind of question I expect when we let the Gab people ask. I was wondering, when are we going to Gab? When is this Q&A going to get Gabified? It's taken a few, but now we are here. All right.
I love this question.
It is a great question. Here's how I will answer I'll answer with two generalities. And I'll let you guys tell me if that's a sufficient answer or if you think I punked out. Number one, every form of government in all of human history has been a theocracy. Every single one. There has never been a government in all of human history that in the end did not claim that either its power to rule came from God, that it was a proxy stand-in or the actual God itself, or in the case of our own, that rights came from God and the purposes of governments being instituted among men were to secure those God-given rights. So there's never ever been a government that wasn't some form of theocracy. We are really just debating, is it a direct or indirect one? And who is the theo here in the theocracy? So you have a theocratic, well, maybe not a monarchy, but oligarchy now. I mean, the reason why hockey writers lost it on that Russian player last week and now they're losing it on the New York Rangers is because it was never about love is love and it was never about marriage. It was always about replacing your religion with mine and then forcing it on you. It always comes back to Animal Farm every time. So everything's a theocracy. We're just going to debate direct or indirect and who or what is theo, period. Secondly, tyranny occurs in human societies when spheres of influence exceed their God-given jurisdictions. For example, when a father believes that he is God, that he is the ultimate arbiter of right and wrong in the home, he can do no wrong. He can take from his spouse and his children what he wants, demand what he wants. He becomes a tyrant because he can't. He's not God. He's dad. He is the head of the home, but he isn't the God of the home. So whenever those spheres of influence get exceeded, those jurisdictions get exceeded, tyranny occurs. And you bet your sweet bippy that when the church as an institution exceeds that sphere, tyranny can happen within it too. One example that gets often pointed to, and the reason why it gets often pointed to is because we don't have like 20 examples of this. Because most of the time through history, the challenge has been getting the church to actually fulfill its sphere of influence rather than worrying about it exceeding it, like the era in which we live now. Okay? But there's a reason why the Ecclesiastes and the Ecclesiastes come up every time, okay, when this conversation comes up. Why do those two come up every time, guys? Because if they had 22 others to come up with, they would probably come up with those, right? So they just come up with those two every time because those are the two obvious ones. Most of the rest of history, Germany in the 1930s, America right now, most of the rest of the time, it's the church looking the other way as the evil arises. It's the church being the sons of Adam that they are. What, me worry? I got nothing for you. Crush the head of a serpent? I don't even know what a serpent is. But that fruit looks mighty juicy. So passivity has been the problem with the church throughout much of its history. Not the excessive use of force. But there have been times that the church has exceeded its grasp from a jurisdictional standpoint and has become tyrannical. And two of those times were during the Crusades and the Inquisition, which is why all of you know those two times, because they're like the only two times in like 3,000 years. All right. All the other times, the church was like, so when are you guys going to hit puberty? Okay. But any institution that exceeds its God-given jurisdictional authority, whether secular or sacred, will become a tyrant. Because by exceeding your God-given jurisdictional authority, you are essentially proclaiming whom now is God. You are. Whose mission statement is, ye be like God? That the good guy or the bad guy's mission statement?
Bad.
That's the bad guys. So anytime you make that decision, are you like your heavenly father or your father, the devil?
The latter.
The latter.